Hello and welcome to another episode of Drew Rants. Today we're going to be doing our Canada predictions or our Canada predictions. As you can tell, I'm a little sick and my voice doesn't sound great. Just the way things go sometimes, I look at my face, I haven't changed too much. Thank you for all the support so far. We're already up to 22 subscribers at this point. I'm hoping to get to 25 by the end of June. And then, honestly, I'd really love to get to 100 by the end of the year. So, without further ado, let's get right into my predictions. Now, guys, listen, okay? Listen. This week is going to be probably what I'm going to call my sick week. Like, I must not be thinking straight, because I'm going to make some interesting predictions here. So for my bold take, Max Verstappen wins in Canada. All I can tell you is there's going to be a little rain. And that is really all I need to know. He qualified P2 in Miami, and hey, Mercedes is bringing upgrades, all right? We'll get to that later in the video, but I do think that he still has good qualifying pace, and if he can convert and he gets a little rain, there's going to be a little luck on his side for sure, and I think he can convert on that pretty good. So I've got some faith in Max this week. I think that he's coming off of a very, very hot Nürburgring. He would have won. Obviously, go look it up, go look at the story, watch the highlights. They were in the lead through 21 hours. They had to retire the car. So I think that he's going to be coming off hot from the Nürburgring Challenge, that 24-hour endurance race. And I think that he's going to actually be able to convert in F1. Now, I think if he wins the sprint race, I think I'll count it. I think I'll count it either way. But I'm thinking the main race. I'm thinking he wins the main one. So that's my prediction. That's my bold prediction. So we'll see how that goes. So for my biggest loser prediction, I am going with Ferrari this week for two reasons. The first reason for Ferrari being that they're going to bring some upgrades. And the second reason being that Lewis Hamilton is going to do better than Charles Leclerc this week, which is kind of a mini prediction in and of itself. But I think that's bad for Ferrari as well, because it also means that not only did Charles have a bad weekend in Miami, but now he's going to have a pretty rough weekend not being able to outperform his teammate. Even if Lewis Hamilton is an exceptional teammate to have, I think Charles Leclerc, if he wants the shot at this title, should not be competing with Lewis Hamilton at this point. Lewis should be second fiddle to him at this point, if he really wants a shot at Mercedes right now. So I think overall Ferrari is going to be a biggest loser. I'm not predicting that Charles Leclerc or Lewis is going to have a DNF, but if that happens, then obviously they'll be a biggest loser, but it's not quite the prediction I'm going for. I think they're just going to have another disappointing week. And I think that is why they're going to be a biggest loser, because I don't foresee anyone having more of a loss than this. I don't think George Russell is going to have more of a loss this week. I don't think that there's anyone on the field right now that stands to lose more, except maybe Isaac Hadjar, but I don't think he's going to have that problem. So Ferrari it is. Obviously, a lot of people will say Ferrari if they don't get 1 and 2. I'm not saying that. I'm thinking that Ferrari will be worse than McLaren this week, and worse than Mercedes, and worse than Red Bull. So not Isaac Hadjar, but that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. And if that does happen, where Hamilton is 5 and Leclerc is 6, then that's what I'm expecting to happen here. And if that does happen, then they'll clearly be my biggest loser. So that's kind of what I'm expecting for this week. For my championship leader prediction, I have Kimi Antonelli in P2. He is going to maintain his strength and his pace as he has been for the last 4 races. He has been a dominant force and a force to be reckoned with, that is for sure. So what I think about Kimi Antonelli is that he's going to stay on top of George Russell. I don't think George is going to out-qualify him in either race this weekend, even though this is a bold take in itself as well, guys. again, I'm sick. I get to make these picks and then I can blame myself for it later and say that I was sick, right? It's not my fault. I wasn't thinking right. So I actually think, despite Canada being an extremely strong track for George, I think Kimi Antonelli is going to outqualify him in both sessions. I think he will. I'm not saying he'll outqualify him in every single session, like SQ1, SQ2, SQ3. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that I think in Q3, in both scenarios in Q3, he'll outqualify George Russell and he'll be higher up. We saw the same thing last year. Piastri didn't fall off after 3 or 4 races, right? I mean, he was still in the lead for quite a few races after this. And I kind of foresee that, not the same way, but I do see that Antonelli's going to maintain his strength right now until he gets later in the season. Now, of course, I'm also predicting that he doesn't win 4 in a row, which would be incredible. But hey, P2, P1, it's all the same, really. Now we have my unique prediction. My unique prediction this week, which, was a little, you can say what you want. I'm going to cover my bases here. I'm going Mercedes 1-2 for qualifying in the race and Lando qualifying P3. That's my unique prediction. Now, this is just right or wrong, right? I mean, this is just right or wrong. Obviously, I have Kimi Antonelli in P2, finishing P2, but that doesn't mean that he's not starting there. I mean, he could be starting P1 again. You never know. It's kind of a lot. It's a big prediction here, but if I get it right, then, you have to say, Drew, you're probably the best predictor out there right now, and then you have to subscribe. Check right now if you are. I doubt you are because I only have 22 subscribers. You probably aren't one of them, so make sure you are subscribed because you're going to get more call-outs like these, and maybe you'll get a Formula One car appearing outside of your driveway if you do. Now for my midfield prediction. I think Audi is going to score points this week. Maybe I should just say Gabriel Bortoleto is going to score points this week. I think he's going to. Just a hunch, really. I have a suspicion that we're going to have some issues in Racing Bulls, and I think some of the spots are going to be left open for points. Although Williams may be able to snag another 1-2, I'm not going to predict that again because I do think that would be kind of scummy. And I don't want to be a historical predictor where I just predict the result from the previous race. I think that's just dumb. So I'm going with Gabriel Bortoleto to score points. For my backfield prediction, I think Aston Martin is going to significantly improve as of today. I think they'll have at least a second and a half more pace than they previously did in the last 4 races of the season. Obviously, they've gotten faster, but I am predicting that their upgrade packages that they're bringing will make them fast enough to at least help them compete with Cadillac. But I think that Aston Martin will improve significantly. We may see them go even above some of the back markers. And if that does happen, then I will take Aston Martin's point for the backfield prediction. And I mean, I like Aston Martin. I feel bad for them right now. I think they're going to be a really solid team in a couple years. So, it wouldn't hurt for them to improve right now dramatically. And finally, for my DNF prediction, I have another Audi driver. Nico Hülkenberg will retire the car mid-race. That is my prediction. I think that they'll have some sort of issue with the car and subsequently they'll DNF. Now, it's tough to say if I want to predict that he's going to crash. I don't think he's going to crash. I think he'll get hit. I think it's either going to be a lap 1 issue or it's going to be a later in the race issue where something happens to the car. Those are like my two theories. But I'm going with DNF for Hülkenberg. He just has this aura about him where he'll just DNF sometimes, and you're like, what the hell? How'd that even happen? That's kind of what we're going for here. I don't want to be like the broken record with Liam Lawson DNFs. I really could predict him again. I think, honestly, if you had to predict any driver consistently, if you can only pick one for the entire season, if you drafted Liam Lawson to be the DNF guy, Liam Lawson might actually have the most DNFs out of anyone at the end of the season. I wouldn't be surprised. So it's not a crazy gamble to go with Liam Lawson. So I'm going a little bit more bold here. I'm going with Hulkenberg. Again, for no particular reason. So that will do it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Obviously, my voice is cooked. I don't know what's going on. I got sick. Life stuff's going on. If you guys are interested, I just graduated from college, and now I am taking a bit of a break in the summer, and then I'm going to law school afterwards. So obviously what that looks like in the future is going to be a little bit more difficult to tell. I'm going to try to make videos like prediction reaction videos for races, but it's obviously going to be a lot tighter to do, and I don't really have the time to edit. So you may see more videos a lot like this in the fall, because I'm just not going to have the time to be able to edit my videos without having to pay someone to be an editor, and my channel is obviously not big enough for that yet. Just keep that in mind. So, we're going to get 3 months of prime Drew ranting, and then it's going to be a little bit harder to keep a hold of, and I'll try to upload weekly videos, but obviously it's going to get a lot harder at that point. Let me know in the comments if you think that any of my predictions are very based and you think that that's going to happen, or if you think that my predictions are way off and you think that I should just stop doing YouTube because I'm an idiot. And if you think that, then, I'm going to put you on the wall of shame back there. Speaking of which, my next video will be a wall of shame video for the people that have commented on my videos and made Aura tier lists that are absolutely shameful. So we're going to make a video on that, me reacting to those and putting them on my wall back there. Anyway, we'll talk to you all in the next one. See you then. Peace.